A well-built house is one of the most important upgrades for your RuneScape account, but usually the goal is to get in and out as quickly as possible so you can get back to playing the game. However, if you stick around, there are training methods for almost half the skills in the game, ranging from meta-defining to complete memes. And to me, these are both a blessing and a curse. Why? Well, this is Prifddinas, my Xtreme onechunk Iron Man, and I have to complete every challenge in Prifddinas before I can leave. And the house portal here gives me really good solutions to two of my hardest skilling challenges, but hidden deep in the basement is a forgotten training method that will set me back hundreds of hours, millions of GP, and it may just be the worst grind I have ever done. But right now, I'm happily working on my construction grind with no idea what I'm about to discover. Welcome back to Prifddinas, everybody. It is time to do the fun part of my construction grind and cash in the 76,000 mahogany planks that I banked in the last episode to take my construction all the way from level 71 to 99. Well, it's actually 98 for now, but when I get to 98, I'm going to try my hardest to build the best house possible with the supplies I can get in Prif. Then I'll make that final push for 99. So let's get straight into it. In terms of the method I'm going to use, it's not all that complicated, as I don't have access to things like a butler or any of the teleports close to a bank. I do have a huge supply of lore runes from the corrupted gauntlet and Volcano, so I can teleport to my house, make 4 dining room tables, and then run back to the bank. You may be able to get over 1 million XP an hour as an unrestricted account, but this method should get me around 250,000 XP an hour, which is pretty good for a chunk account. Although you do have to ignore the multiple hours of setup I did for each hour of construction. In the end, I calculated it at about 74,000 construction XP an hour if you include all the setup, and that's still pretty good. I am now a few hours into this grind, and I have managed to get back under 70k planks. So close to the perfect number there. So almost 10% of the way through what I had banked, and I'm hitting my first big milestone, 80 construction. There's about 50 hours of this grind left, and I'm pretty sure it's going to go by very quickly. Right, nice little milestone coming up here. We have exactly 50,000 mahogany planks left, so I have got 2/3 of the way through what I have made so far. Making very good progress on this grind, all the way up to 88 construction right now, and the levels sure are slowing down. So although this is a pretty decent training method, I am running into one problem of run energy. And so far, I have dealt with this in 2 ways. Doing some other training at the bank, or just walking away from my computer for a little bit until it regenerates. But I have found a much better solution to this. I can grab a new inventory of planks, and then all I have to do is pop my head into the gauntlet, then quick exit, and I can get straight back to it. Teleport to my house, with my run energy back at 100, I've barely lost any time, and I can get back to training at full efficiency. And there is 90 construction, flying through these levels. While I'm running back and forth, now is a good time to chat about what tasks I have left before I can leave this place. I started off with a huge list. This isn't even all of them, just the most important ones. And after completing the vast majority of them, I am down to just 10. 5 of those should be pretty simple to clean up along the way, but the other 5 are still behemoths of tasks. And in the case of the 2 pets, I am no closer to finishing these than I was on day 1. I'm at least making good progress towards 99 construction, as here is level 92, halfway there. Even though I'm in Prif with a lot of great training methods, it's crazy how good random events are for me. Each lamp will save me an hour of Herblore later on. Rick Turpentine and the Mysterious Old Man can very rarely give me crystal keys, and the maze random has a 1 in 3 chance of giving me a ton of feathers, which are extremely slow and boring to farm, or a nice chunk of coal, which would allow me to process a tiny fraction of the ores dropped by Volcano. All feather drops are actually crazy good. I can make almost 4,000 bolts with these, so hopefully if I continue to get lucky with maze events, I may be able to get the last 2 fletching levels I need with just maze feathers. I'll go stick these in the bank and see how many I have now, but then I need to get back to construction, as they can just stack up until I get at least 1 more smithing level, because at 88 smithing I can make runite bolts, and that will allow me to use up all of my onyx bolt tips for the best XP per feather. So I have 13,000 feathers from random events. It should get me some of the way at least. Didn't even notice that one sneaking up. 94 construction. I've only got 4 levels more of banked XP, and then I need to go back to the sawmill. I wonder if I can make dungeon things. Surely there's nothing important down there. If there was, the chunk picker would tell me. For those who don't know, the chunk picker is the tool that chunk accounts use to work out what tasks they have to do in each chunk, and it's pretty reliable. I'm sure there's nothing to worry about down there. 95 construction, and this one I'm a little sad about because there is no chance for me to build a crystal throne for a very long time. It requires magic stones to make, and I can't get them until I get all the way over to the stonemason in Keldagrim. Sadly, a lot of the really good quality of life upgrades you can get in your house are locked behind marble blocks, gold leaf, and magic stones that can only be bought from the stonemason. But there's still a few good things I can get before then. What else did I get? Ooh, 1750 total level. Man, things are getting pretty high up there, and I've still got a decent amount of levels to go. Not that many, but I think we'll get to at least 1800 before we're done. Dipping below 10,000 planks for the first time in a long time. Back into the 4 digits. Once we get these done, should be nicely into 98 construction. $91 magic. All these teleports are actually starting to add up to a decent amount of XP. I estimate it at around 80,000 from this grind. It might dwarf in comparison to the XP from the gauntlet, high alchemy, or even superheating iron bars, but every little helps. Let's talk real quick about the absolute insanity that is every estate agent in the game selling the construction cape. You may just think I'm mad because it means I have to do this grind, but I think this is the best form of the construction grind that any one chunk account could hope for. Instead, think about getting the smithing cape from Thurgo, the last of an ancient race of dwarves revered for their skill in smithing, and almost all skill capes come from true masters of the skill, many sold by the leaders of their respective guilds. But for construction, every slimy estate agent from across Gielinor will sell you one despite having probably never built a thing in their life. Amy would be a way better choice to sell it. And that is my warmest OSRS take, and also 97 construction. Less than 1,000 planks now. I'm on the home stretch. While I finish off the last of my logs, I wanted to take a quick break to talk about RuneFest. I went last year not knowing anyone, expecting to just walk around on my own, but the community there was amazing. I met so many people and came away with a ton of new friends, which for a man in his 30s is frankly unheard of, and it really pushed me to take this more seriously and make the best content that I can. So if you have been enjoying the series, a Golden Gnome nomination for Best New Creator is the best way you can show your support. I have no idea if I can win, but just getting nominated would mean the world to me. You'll find a link to the nominations page below in the pinned comment. It is officially over. I now have 20 mahogany planks left, and it turns out my maths was slightly off as I didn't quite hit 98 construction, but with a bit of recalculation, I'm going to need another 8,000 to 9,000 planks to get to 99, so back to the sawmill I go. Just to drive home the point of how much work has gone into prepping this construction grind, I am now hitting 20 million woodcutting XP. A lot of that was also from my fletching grind, but it's still an ungodly amount of woodcutting, and I sure hope this is the last big milestone I get. And also, still no beaver. And with that last set of planks, I am now officially broke. Time to see what I have left in the bank and scrape together that last bit of money I need. I'm close, but I still need to make 500,000 construction XP worth of planks. So far, I have burnt through 62 million coins making planks. And if you're wondering how I can afford all of this, well, Prifddinas has one of the best money makers in the game, the Corrupted Gauntlet, and it spits out more raw cash and alchemy items than almost any other activity in the game. And I have been grinding it ever since I arrived in Prif, and so far I'm around 1,000 kills deep, so while we're talking about money, we might as well go in for a little update. The collection log is looking pretty good for 1,000 kills. All I need for the green log is the 1 in 800 pet, and I can leave and never do another gauntlet again. However, I have been pretty lucky, no, very lucky in my grind so far. So if you're an Iron Man locked in the red prison, maybe skip forward a couple of minutes because it's about to get a lot worse. Okay, let's unblur the log. That's right, 5 enhanced. I am insanely spooned. I can't really use the extras for anything, but I'm pretty sure I can find some fun use for them. The crazy thing is, it's been over 400 kills since I last got one, so that is 5 in under 600 kills. I am maybe one of the only people in the world that would happily trade in the extras for the pet so that I could get one massive step closer to leaving Prifddinas. So let's get into the update. Starting off with a humble armor seed, Unsurprisingly, I don't need any more of these, but if I can get to 27, then I can maximize the smithing and crafting XP when it comes to finally get 99 smithing. And you know, it's still worth quite a lot of GP. The servers were being unstable, so I took a little detour to complete a few gauntlet combat achievements. I'm starting off with tier 3 armor, which is just about gathering an unreasonable amount in the prep phase. I have no idea how hardcores do this for every kill, it takes so long. I think I might have slightly over-prepared for tier 3 armor. I bought 20 fish, I needed 0. But over-preparing for one-off things like combat achievements is usually a pretty good idea. That's another combat achievement ticked off. The Xtreme onechunk rules don't require you to do combat achievements, but I think it's important to seriously attempt to complete any that I can feasibly do. Next, it's time for no armor, and it's not much of a challenge, but I did need 12 fish to complete it, so I'm a bit worried that the corrupted gauntlet version of this could be quite hard for me. That's defense doesn't matter done. I think just one more planned for today. This time, I can't use any prayer potions, so I ended up making tier 3 armor again, and I did a little bit of lazy flicking, but the bonuses on tier 3 armor are so good that you could do this by just skipping offensive prayers. That's the last of the easier combat achievements done. And for the regular gauntlet, I only have 2 left, leaving me with just the speed times to do. And I do not feel prepared for those right now, especially as the Grandmaster time is maybe the hardest of all the gauntlet combat achievements. Weapon seeds are still a great drop. Each one I can happily turn into a crystal acorn for 13,000 farming XP. Or I could turn the extra armor seeds into more acorns too, but I just can't bring myself to do it when they're so much more expensive. With so much time spent here in the gauntlet, sometimes you've got to spice it up with some new tech. Okay, right, so it's time for chest kicker plugin. Let's see what this does. Bam! It wasn't lucky, but it was cooler. What? Fuck. That's number 6, baby. Oh, where's the pet? Where's the pet? 1100. Anything good? Not too bad.
Level up completed.
Hey, 68 cooking. Still got so far to go. A little bit at a time.
Level up completed.
92 magic, halfway to level 99. Actually crazy considering it's basically all from just attacking this big red dog. Come on! There's so many enhanced still weapons. Also, that kill was terrible. But yeah. Just remind ourselves of where we're at. That's 7 enhanced crystal weapon seeds. Oh my god. What's going on? Oh, one day I'll get the pet. Ma. This can't be real. So many. It's getting out of hand. It's only been 10 kills since the last one.
Level up completed.
92 hit points. That's a pretty big level. 91 ranged. If I end up going another 1,000 kills for this pet, I might start even getting 99s here. 1200 KC. Is it over? Nice. No, but you know, we're stacking up the drops recently. In the last 200 kills, I've got 3 enhanced and 6 armor seeds. That's the entire CG grind done with the bow, the blade, and an extra enhanced for fun. This luck alone would be worthy of a Reddit post. And for that little bit extra, I am also 10 weapon seeds ahead of what you would expect. That's just 130,000 farming XP for free. But hopefully my luck can start pivoting towards the pet, as I'm now 1.5 times the drop rate, and I'm starting to feel like I've done enough corrupted gauntlet. I think that might be all we can handle for today. I am truly sorry to anyone extremely dry for their bofa. It seems like Jagex gave your one to me. I give you full permission to abuse me in the comments, but only if you subscribe first. If you're wondering exactly how lucky I am, there's a slightly over 1% chance of having 8 or more by 1200 kills. I actually expected it to be slightly rarer than that. And now that is done, I've grabbed a few of my most expensive alcohols out of the bank, and in no time at all, I'm back at 11 million, which should be enough for that final push to 99. Time to actually get 98 construction. And this is the point I told myself that I was gonna max out my house and build everything I can. I'll give you a full tour when it's done. I have been hard at work, browsing the wiki, checking every room, making sure that I don't miss anything useful. And I have missed something big. Down in the dungeon, I can build traps. There are 5 different ones to build, but they all have one thing in common. They give agility XP. And if I can train agility, I'm going to unlock a new chunk task to get level 84 agility to use the shortcut in the iOS dungeon. That means if this works, I will have to cross one of these traps over 100,000 times. Luckily, there are at least 2 potential solutions that could make this somewhat bearable. 1. There is a way to build your dungeon to create a whole agility course in your house. It's very AFK, it gives 8 to 10,000 XP an hour, but could cost up to 60 million GP. And 2, all of the guides for this method say that you need an oak lever and trapdoor. And with no oak trees anywhere in Taranwin, maybe the traps won't work at all with other plank types, but I expect I'm just grasping at straws, hoping that I won't have to do a 250-hour grind. So I better get in there and do some testing. Starting off, I need a throne room as the way to get into my dungeon, and in here I can see if this will work with a mahogany lever and trapdoor. Then into the dungeon I go. Then, to continue to build out the framework of what I need, it starts with a chapel down here to restore prayer, then a corridor. Here is where I build the traps, but I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing yet, so that can wait a few minutes. Then I add a junction room, and finally the treasure room. This is what makes the whole method work. In here I can build a Toxil, which seems wrong to build without having interacted with the Tazar at all. It would make a lot more sense to do something with ensouled or stuffed heads, but it's been in the game for like 20 years, so it's probably a bit late now. Anyway, these cost 5 million GP to build, so I'm going to need to make sure the trap works before I spend so much money. Now, to answer the big question of can I get repeatable agility XP inside of Prifddinas, I'm going to build a teleport trap, then go out of build mode, use the lever to put the dungeon into challenge mode, and then I go down. Well, it's official. I can train agility, and that gives me a new chunk task of 84 agility to use the agility shortcut in the iOS dungeon. I do at least have a 1 agility boost that I can buy from the pub here, which will save me like 30 hours. While I'm here and I haven't invested too much money into this method yet, I want to see if I can go back and forth on this trap without moving my mouse. I tried all sorts of different camera angles, but fundamentally, the traps are hidden in the floor and just use the hitboxes of the default tiles. So I'm pretty sure it's impossible to click to move to a tile without my cursor moving to a different tile. So I think it's time to get my wallet out and spend on my very own agility course. This method has its own wiki page and appears to be something that people choose to do to train agility. So all in all, I could be in a much worse spot. For now, I can build 3 more teleport traps and say goodbye to 5 million GP to build the most basic version of this course. I can keep on adding more traps and more Toxil until I run out of space down here, each time making it slightly more efficient, but for now I'm going to stick with the most basic version and work my way up from there. And with that built, I need to go and grab some gear to make this work. The most important part is that I need a ranged or mage weapon with a 4 to 7 tile ranged, which for me is a crossbow, which I don't currently have, but I can quickly go and make a crossbow string and string one of the unstrung crossbows I made during my fletching grind. And then for every other slot, I need to maximize my prayer bonus, which is just crystal armor and a glory. When I get the trimmed construction cape, that will give me 4 more prayer, but doesn't matter too much for now. I guess I don't actually know if this is going to work still, but I'm guessing that the guides just tell you to use an oak lever as it's the lowest level version, and that the higher levels should work fine. So I first need to run down and aggro the Toxil, avoiding the traps if I can, and then hopefully it should attack me now. There we go, and the last step is to return to the start, turn auto retaliate on, run energy off, and then sit back and relax. And I have instantly run into the main problem with this method of when you get to the end of the traps, you stop moving and have to spam click a trap to return to the start. This is why adding more traps and Toxil is a good idea, but for each additional Toxil I add, I only get one more trap, so the expansion will start to get very expensive. Luckily, I seem to be failing a decent amount, but I think it's going to be very important to expand this to at least 3 or 4 Toxil so I get a much better AFK time. Which means it's time to alch some more stuff and hope that I have enough to afford the expansion. This is basically everything I have left, so I sure hope I don't discover any more really expensive grinds. And that turned into a pretty reasonable 33 mil. I think I'm going to try and be quite conservative with my spending and see how it feels. My alch tab looks pretty sad, but in an emergency I do have quite a lot of smithing supplies to process. It's just not something I want to deal with right now. So I'm building Toxil number 2 and Toxil number 3. Maybe these things deserve names considering I'm about to spend 10 days of playtime with them. All the elves seem to be named after Lord of the Rings elves, so maybe some Lord of the Rings orcs, like maybe Lurtz and Shagrat, but to be honest, I'm kind of out at that point. So tell me in the comments what I should call them. Time for a test run. Hopefully this is going to be good enough now. I did try and calculate the chance of getting to the end, but every time I evade the trap, I have a 50% chance of going forwards and a 50% chance of going backwards. And that's maths that I can't be bothered to work out. But in the case that I do always go forwards, I have a 10% chance of getting to the end. So all I know is it should be less than that, which in theory is good enough for me, but the stats don't really matter. What matters is if it feels good. And so far, this seems like a good balance to me. I think this wouldn't be long enough for most people, but I have 59 prayer and a pretty low prayer bonus, so I can't AFK for that long, slightly under 4 minutes. And once I get the construction cape, it will only add another 20 seconds. For the sake of saving money, I'm just going to stick with 3. Maybe when my agility gets a bit higher and I don't fail enough, I could add a 4th. The wiki says you can get about 8 to 12,000 XP an hour from this method. And unsurprisingly, I'm getting rates at the lower half of this range, sitting somewhere between 9 and 10k XP an hour, which is higher than I expected, but I think most people would be able to AFK for at least twice as long as me, and that means that this grind is going to be somewhere between 200 and 250 hours down here to get just 13 levels. For reference, if you played efficiently, you could expect to max agility in 165 hours. So if you really hate agility, I still wouldn't recommend this. Train agility normally and AFK something else, because these rates are not good enough. I know that the most optimal thing for me to do is to finish construction so I can get the cape and use the extra AFK time here. But right now, I'm not spending that much time at my computer because I'm taking a few months off work to look after baby clubs. So this grind has come at sort of the perfect time, as it's so easy to do on mobile. I just have to glance over every now and then to reset, and it doesn't really matter if I don't check in time. Dying just kicks me out of my house. It's a bit annoying to set up again, but nothing bad happens. And in my precious few hours at my computer, I will spend focused on the pet grinds, as it's impossible to know how long they're going to take. And it's very possible that the pets will be the last thing standing between me and leaving Prifddinas. Now, all I have left to do is start chipping away at the levels. And there are going to be a few fun unlocks along the way, but I'll talk about them when the time comes.
Level up completed.
71 agility. This was more like half a level, as the 40,000 experience from Song of the Elves reward did a lot of the work. It's been going well. I have my little 3-minute timer set up. This is definitely not the worst grind I have done, but I'll let you know if I still feel that way in 200 hours.
Level up completed.
72 agility. This level took me 3 days of grinding on mobile. At this rate, the final levels of this grind will take me 10 days.
Level up completed.
74 agility. Now, I could boost and test out a new training method, but I'm pretty sure it has no chance of being good if I'm boosting and I'm about to go on holiday, so probably best to wait. 75 agility, and that means I can now do the Prifddinas rooftop agility course. Ish. We can't, but let's go test it out. The only thing I need to do this is the Eternal Teleport Crystal, and then I think I can give it a go. And you're probably thinking that will definitely take you out of your chunk. And well, you're not wrong, but just bear with me a second. 11 agility XP for the ladder. Let's see if we can cross the tightrope successfully. for a lovely 31 agility XP. For some reason, I thought it was less than that, but I guess it's going to vary. I should probably have the agility plugin turned on so I actually know where to click. And then this is the point we can get to. I cannot enter this dark hole. It will take me out of my chunk. It's a bit unfortunate because it takes you out into this area here, which is only accessible while doing this agility course, but it's also definitely not in Prifddinas anymore. So the rest of this course is off limits until I roll those chunks to the north. So now my only option is to click the teleport seed to go back to the center of Prif and then run back to the start of the agility course. I'm going to reset my XP tracker and give it at least 15 minutes to see how it compares. And obviously any rooftop course is going to be good XP, but you get roughly 20 XP per obstacle and over 1000 for finishing it. So even though I'm doing a third of the course, it's not like I'm going to get a third of the XP. But there's really no way of knowing how much I'm going to get until I test it. Failing the tightrope may actually be quite good for me, as I'm still pretty close to the start and I get more chances to get a portal. Portals jump you ahead, give bonus XP and a crystal shard. One will spawn every lap, but I can only use one of the 6 locations they spawn in, and I think I would get a lot more XP if I could choose to fail the tightrope every time. Let's stick the XP tracker on the screen, and I'm currently getting around 9000 XP an hour, so almost exactly the same as in the dungeon. I did not expect this at all, but I guess 9000 XP an hour just isn't very much. It does have the upside of giving a small amount of crystal shards, but it's a lot of work compared to the dungeon, so I think I'm going to be heading back there soon. I do want to quickly test the XP when I teleport to my house instead of using the crystal, but if it's better, it's not going to be by much. I think that portal there is always going to make me sad. Feels like I'm missing out, even though I can definitely never click it. Unsurprisingly, teleporting to house is almost exactly the same, so also not a winner. And one last test that I probably should have considered before. Back in my dungeon, I want to test spam clicking the traps. This should be higher XP and give me the option to speed things up a little bit when I feel like clicking more. Let's go have a look. So I don't need the guy to attack me at all. I just want to keep on clicking and see what I get. The answer might be bored. This is somehow worse than AFKing. I don't understand. Well, it's been about 10 minutes and yet still worse than AFKing. No idea what's going on, but I think I'm just going to go back to AFKing and get on with the grind. Maybe one day I'll work out why this isn't faster. I just hit 77 agility, which means I can come down here and try and use the first of the 2 agility shortcuts. So let's give that a go now. Currently can't do it because I need a level 78 agility to do that, but if I drink this Elven Dawn, then I can squeeze through. Part of me was wondering if this could ever be an actual training method, and I think it would be very easy to set up as a one-click method with a foot pedal. Like I've found it already, but at 1 XP per time through, even if it was as quick as say 1 second to get through, that would only be a maximum of 3600 XP per hour. So this is never going to be very good. It's quite satisfying, at least, I suppose. I'm going to have to head back to my dungeon soon. I can quickly check out the high level shortcut, 84 agility for that one, so I am stuck here for those last 6 levels. But you know what that means? We are more than halfway there.
Level up completed.
Level 78. Just 1 million XP left to go. So about 100 hours. Probably quite a lot more, considering I'm not doing this at peak efficiency. One of the best things about this grind is I actually get random events down here, unlike most of my other grinds where I'd have to leave every now and then to force spawn one. And because of all the random events, I have managed to make pretty good progress towards my Herblore. I already completed the chunk task to get to 72 to make a dwarf reed potion unfinished, but I'm pretty terrified of the Herblore grinds that are waiting for me just outside of Prif. So I'm going to continue to lamp until at least level 78, which will be my next goal as soon as I come across a nature impling. So with this lamp and a little bit of actual Herblore training, I should be able to get to 73. So I can quickly mix up some prayer potions and super strength as probably the most useful potions I can make, get to 73 Herblore and then use my lamp. Did I do all of this for an extra 10 XP from a lamp? Kind of, but I mostly just wanted a break from agility. You may think this is a bit excessive as I only need 5 Herblore levels, but without a herb patch or something good like Chaos Druids to kill, my best source of Herblore XP is either running around the gauntlet and just making potions, not actually fighting the boss, or killing elves. Both will get me 1000 XP an hour maximum. So right now, that would be a 600 hour grind to level 78, and each lamp can save me almost an entire hour, and I want to do whatever I can to reduce that grind.
So I just noticed something weird off in the background when challenge mode is not on. So like if I turn challenge mode on, disappears. Turn challenge mode off, it reappears. So let's go and have a look at what that is. If you go down below and you can go below the floor, you can see the Tsar guys just hanging out because they're too big for one floor of our house. So they pop their head through. Actually ridiculous. There's one over here and one over here. I guess I get my money's worth for the 5 mil I spent on each of them as I get an extra little bit of, I get an extra Tsar rock sticking through my grass, even if I can only see it at like low angles. And the old school renderer sure is something.
Level up completed.
And finally, level 80 agility. I've been here so long. I've got another 60 hours left to go in this dungeon, and then I'll be free again.
Level up completed.
82 agility. One more level and this hell is over. One more level to go. 25 hours. And we will be out of here. And as I'm starting to get a bit more free time, I'd like to get that last level with the full BIS set up. So it's finally time to finish off the construction grind. I'm so looking forward to being able to play the game properly again. Because this is just misery as your main activity in RuneScape. I do not recommend. So all of the AFKing agility in my player-owned house has resulted in all of my crystal armor becoming inactive. So like all of the other times that my crystal bow has run out of charges, it is time to revert all of these items back to their seeds, make them back into items again. This way, they have no shards in them anyway, so we don't lose anything from reverting them. And I managed to, rather than just putting shards into them, I can get myself a decent chunk of XP back. So that is going to be 15,000 smithing XP, which I am pretty happy to get rather than just dumping shards into these like you would normally do, because letting them actually revert is kind of a stupid thing to do. Check them again, 2,500 charges, and I am ready for quite a lot more combat. So I am finally building up my house ready for 99 construction and that all-important house party. And well, I may have found another problem. And it's another pretty big one. That is this teleport space here, because I can, in theory, build a spirit tree. Now, obviously, I've got the level 75 construction that it says here, but to build this, you also need 83 farming, which is not very close. I would still need to get another 7 levels with the at least slight reprieve that I can boost 3 of those levels with a garden pie. So let me quickly just build what I was planning on building here, which is some stained glass windows, and then I can go and answer the first and probably most important question of, do I even have a spirit seed? Because my only source of these is from birds' nests that drop from forestry and wood cutting. So let's see how many I've got from my 20 million woodcutting XP. I have 197 birds' nests and the drop rate is only 1 in 90. So let's speed through opening all of these and see if I can get my hand on a spirit seed. Interesting enough, I got the, on the first try here, got my hands on the 1 in 168 dragon fruit tree seed, which does mean that if I roll myself towards a fruit tree patch, then maybe I can make some dragon fruit pies and potentially save myself some fletching grinding in the future. But that's not what I need right now. So let's see if we can find this spirit seed. After only 3 inventories, there it is. I keep on finding really long additional chunk tasks for me to complete in this chunk, and yeah, this is no exception. I have to go and find myself another 4 farming levels, which doesn't sound that bad, but it is almost 600,000 farming XP. So if I take a quick look at my seeds tab and what I've got left, I've got some strawberry seeds, some import roots. I think I'm pretty much out of the snape grass. Yeah, down to 6 snape grass. There's just a lot of junk in here. Most of it's not very useful as I'm basically just working off the allotment seeds. I already worked my way all the way through the watermelons seeds as well as the snape grass seeds. So let's hope, really hope that I don't have to go back to moss giants to farm out some more seeds to do this chunk task. And then obviously the other thing that I have is 7 crystal weapon seeds and 1 crystal acorn right now, which itself is 104,000. To get another 500,000, I would need that times 5 again, roughly. So 8 times 5 is 40, and then times that by 750,000 gold. So I can solve this problem in its entirety for just 30 million GP. That might be a consideration, but let's see where we get with the weapon seeds that we get out of the corrupted gauntlet for the rest of the grind and with any additional seeds I already have banked. But yeah, this could be a huge problem having to make my very own spirit tree in my player in house, which unsurprisingly I will not be able to use for a very long time. But yeah, we'll add it to the chunk picker and create a brand new task, and we thought we were done with farming. Now, there is a voice at the back of my head that wonders if I can even plant it without the quest, but the wiki says you can, and now I have the seed, it should probably be a task to make a spirit tree sapling. If I have to make unfinished potions and part summer pies, then saplings seem like they should count as a skilling task, but it's probably just an oversight with how hard it is for most chunk accounts to interact with farming. Finally, I have finished building up my house with everything interesting I've found, and it's time to show you what I've got going on. I'm still in building mode because it's a good way to see just how much I'm missing, but I can start with one of the most complete rooms, the kitchen. It has everything useful except for a spice shelf. And if you think I'm going to be finished with the house-based grinds anytime soon, you're very mistaken, as I still have to work on my 95 cooking grind, as the kitchen will provide me with all sorts of options, but I'll talk about that later on. Then I have the costume room. It would be really nice to have any of the good storage in here, but instead I just have a toy box containing a single item, a RuneFest 2017 shield, but all the good storage is locked behind oak planks, and fun fact, there's no oak trees in all of Turanwin. Sadly, no pet houses for the pets that I'm still lacking, and I can build a portal room but no focus, making this very pointless, but I also don't have any teleports I can use, so it's doubly useless. Forestry has allowed me to fill my house with beehives as the only option in the garden. The chapel is looking okay, and maybe one day I'll train prayer here, but hopefully I can upgrade the altar a little bit before then. I will get a spirit tree here before I leave, but not yet. And although I can't build one yet, I don't think it's going to take me that long after I leave Prifddinas to get everything I need to build a restoration pool, which is only the first tier, but even up to tier 3 should be possible quite soon. The achievement gallery is looking pretty sad, as all I have is a jewelry box that if I'm not careful will make me leave Prif. My games room, I have my hoop and stick game, which I actually shouldn't have because it uses oak planks, but it was a big part of training ranged on my journey to unlock Prif, so I've kept it round for a little nostalgia, and it's not like it's of any use now. And again, oak planks stop me from building anything interesting in the workshop, and everything else I've either talked about already or is just cosmetic at this point. There really is nothing else left to do now other than finish up the grind. And if I can count, we're going to hit 99 construction with that table. The grind is finally over. Let's go out and I can build 38 rooms. Very nice. That is the end of what has been months and months of grinding planks and money. And unlike my 99 woodcutting or even my eventual 99 smithing, I actually get an extremely strong reward as I can buy myself a construction cape. So after a quick celebration with the stream, let's go and find the estate agent. Can you tell me about the skill cape of construction? The 99,000 coins? Absolutely. That does sound fair. Awesome. This is my first ever construction cape, and I am now slightly terrified that I'm going to use it to teleport to some random place that I am not allowed to go. But it looks like the home should be fine. I want to swap shift click to Prifddinas. Let's try that out. Hell yeah. And then swap the left click to home. Now it should be very hard to mess up and teleport somewhere that I'm not allowed. I can hope that one day I can make use of the other teleports, but even in its current form, while I'm locked to Prif, it's going to be so useful. It's my only cape with any stats at all, and because I have 99 woodcutting, it's trimmed and has an extra 4 prayer bonus. But as I've said, I have plenty of grinds to do in my house, and this is a teleport that takes up no inventory space, and it will only become more useful as the area I have access to grows. Let's not forget about the most important part of getting a skill cape, doing the emote. Here we go. Oh, I can build a tiny house around myself. Lovely. Am I building an outhouse? Is this just a toilet? Finally a place to shit in the game. And of course, the all-important chunk task complete. Now it's finally time to party. And as an Iron Man, I have never been to a house party before, so hopefully I did a good job of hosting. We had drinking, grab a beer glass, get yourself a cider. We had banter. It was a Dickens cider? Nice. You sure did get me. We had games. Hey, congrats Mars. You won Find the Fairy. We had fighting. Ow. I'm getting destroyed. And then at the end, I locked everyone in the basement. I locked you down? Can you get out now? I don't know how you're supposed to get out. It's your punishment. You're locked in my dungeon now. I didn't even consider building stairs into the dungeon. It had all the elements I expect from a great house party. However, house parties for Iron Men are pretty stupid, as the other Iron Men can't come into my house, which I really wish they would change, maybe in next year's summer sweep up. And unsurprisingly, a pretty large number of my viewers are Iron Men and had to wait outside while we had fun. So I did the obvious thing and moved the party over to Volcano. Last time I covered Volcano, I got to 2 times the drop rate of the pet, and I have been sticking to small teams because I only have enough supplies in the bank for 91 smithing. And small teams stack up a lot more supplies. I have streamed every single Volcano kill I have done. It makes it much easier to get teams together, and as so many of you have been helping me out, it just seems fair to get the drop on stream. But so far, it's not just me without the pet. No one from any of my teams has seen one either. So sorry about that. There's 57 rune crafting, entirely from Volcano. One of the most ridiculous things I have done on this account. I can't even lamp it because I haven't done rune mysteries, so if I do want to train it, then Volcano is my only option. Luckily, the only nearby altar is the death altar, and I can't get a death talisman for a very long time, so I don't think I'll have to worry about it anytime soon. Even with the stream, sometimes teams don't assemble very fast, and the mass worlds are a good backup as the pet rate is much higher. And if I keep going dry here, then I will move over to the mass worlds when I feel like I have enough supplies banked. Hey, someone got a pet. Let's give them a grats. It's technically the first pet we've seen on the stream, although not someone from the stream. Grats to Starmy Iron, the first on-stream pet we've seen. And finally, the first pet in one of my small teams. Only 3 months and 1,400 kills since I started streaming. I do only stream around 6 hours a week, so it's not as bad as it sounds, although we did never see Mami Mara ever again. 4,785 may not sound like an interesting number, but I've just cracked my way into the top 50 of the Iron Man high scores. This will maybe put my dryness into a little more context. Still like 1,500 kills away from the front page though.
Level up completed.
Hey, 88 smithing. I've actually been waiting for 88 smithing for quite a long time, and I know I should have just done it, but that level means that I can make runite bolts and finally turn all of these onyx bolt tips into something. That's actually going to be a pretty good level, and maybe I can use it to finish up my fletching goal, but we'll see.
Level up completed.
89 mining. One more until my chunk task. I have no doubt that I'll get this passively before smithing is finished. What the hell was that, Volcano? She wasn't looking at the rock. Volcano has apparently started firing rocks out her butt. Back to... Fucking back-to-back pets. That's insane. Fucking hell. Where's mine? Let's give him the GZ. Can we get the back 3 back? I doubt it. No back 3 back. Level 60 rune crafting.
And that is it for the front page. Let's do a quick little detour so I can log out over here and update the high scores.
I did not ever want to be on the front page, but here we are. There are a few more ranks close to me, so I'll probably move up this table a little bit, but hopefully not too much.
Level up completed.
Hello, 90 Mining. I was not expecting that today. That is my chunk task almost complete. Now I just need to go and scout myself out a nice little level 9 shooting star, and I will have another chunk task complete. Oh, look at that. Might be the best drop I have ever got from a Volcano. Oh, shit. Hello. What a piece of junk. It's been ages since I got one of those. Volcano shard number 4?
I've been here so long that I've given up on traditional kill milestones, and now I'm trying to keep myself sane with the meme numbers.
6699. Oh, 67. Is that thing that I'm supposed to do?
I'm sorry. 7,000 kills is good enough for now. I'm slightly over 3 times drive for the pet, and I am firmly on the front page for Iron Men, around rank 17 now. This may seem like it would be a miserable position to be in, and it sort of is, but I'm still working on 2 goals here, and if I did have the pet, I'd either have to come back here for more smithing or head down into the mine and superheat while power mining iron, which would get very expensive. But if you take everything I have in the bank right now, I could get to 95 smithing. And if I used all of my crystal shards to make crystal armor, then I could actually have 98 smithing banked. Now, I don't want to use all of my crystal shards for this, as they have a few other uses, but I can use a lot of them. Right now, I have 35,000 of them, and I still have a lot of CG and Volcano to do, so who knows how many I'll have by the end. With that in mind, now is the time to stop the small teams and really focus on getting the pet in the mass worlds. And if I'm lucky, then maybe I can get the pet and finish 99 smithing at almost the same time. Okay, well, it's actually time to get back to my house and finally finish off my agility grind, this time with full best in slot gear.
Hey, 83 agility. Let's get the hell out of here because I do not want to spend another second down here. What am I doing? Let's do that. I can get out of here. There we go. 83 agility done, and it is time to go and get this chunk task done. So we head down into the iOS dungeon. And this shortcut I can already use because that is at 78 agility. But we have this agility shortcut down here, which you require 84 agility to do. And luckily, the elves will sell you a beer that boosts your agility by 1 level. So let's drink that and head through the agility shortcut for a chunk task complete. See how much agility XP I get for this. I expect it's going to be 1 like the other one. Yeah. So sadly, this isn't going to be an improved training method. Oh, that was 2 that time. I think we're looking at 1.5 XP every time. Huge.
Let's quickly talk about this agility shortcut, because the shortcut I unlocked over 100 hours ago will get you to any location in this dungeon faster. I did think we may see a rework for it in the summer sweep up, but there's always next year. And really, who cares? I can't train Slayer anyway, and I don't really have any more reasons to be down here. That is what I spent months working towards. I hope you all enjoyed that, as there is nothing more indicative of the one chunk game mode than an extremely tedious 250 hour grind to unlock something that is either completely useless or maybe even a downgrade. I guess technically it's not completely useless. My run energy will now regenerate 4% faster. By my calculations, I'll actually get that 250 hours back after I've regenerated 7.5 million run energy. But I am not done with the house-based grind yet. Construction and agility are done, and there is 1 more grind left to do in my house. Cooking cakes is actually one of the best methods available if you don't have anything in the bank to cook already, and I was hoping that my water fiend grind would give me a decent stock of raw fish, but I got very spooned on the mist battle staff, and they're really not worth killing unless I have to. I stumbled upon this cooking method a long time ago when I was first working on construction, but at the time I was still burning the cakes, and I decided to build up the passive cooking XP from CG and stacks of leaves from forestry to get to the level where I don't burn them anymore. Until now, the only cooking I have done was to get to level 48, as at the time I was trying to make my gauntlet prep more consistent, and 48 cooking is when you stop burning the fish there. And then the prep phase from 1200 corrupted gauntlet runs got me all the way
Level
to
up,
level 69.
completed.
Right, so it is time to start training cooking. I need to get all the way up to level 90, currently at level 69, mostly from cooking in the gauntlet. I need to get to 90 or 95, depending on if I can get my hands on a Chef's Delight. So the first and easiest option for cooking is to use all of the leaves that I managed to get my hands on while doing forestry for so long. So I've got 10,000 yew leaves there. Every leaf is 50 XP each when you combine it with a cooked fish. I do have a reasonable supply of cooked fish because of my extreme prowess at the gauntlet, which has a separate pity drop table where you still have to do all of the prep but die to the hunliff. And you get rewards from this table, and none of it is very good. Certainly not worth trying to get, but it will drop a lot of trout and cod. And I have failed the gauntlet enough times to get 1,300 cod and almost 1,000 trout. So we're going to work our way through those first, get as much cooking XP out of them as we can, and then I will move on to other sources of fish until I can use up all of my leaves. And once I've used up all of my leaves, we will start doing some more fun and interesting cooking methods. But obviously, I think the first thing is to use up all of these leaves as they can't be burnt. And it's mostly just bank standing. So let's get started. I'll be back once I've used everything in my bank, or something interesting happens. Probably when I use all the fish in my bank. And I've been running the XP calculator just to see how well this is going, and I seem to be hovering sort of between 90,000 and 93,000. So this is pretty good XP per hour. Obviously, cooking when you already have the resources banked is usually insane XP per hour, but we're still a chunk account, so anything around 90,000 XP an hour is amazing. It's going to be going down at some point in the future once we work our way through the banked fish. Yeah, I think we're going to be working with significantly worse XP pretty soon, but I'm going to enjoy it while it lasts.
Level up, completed.
Level 70 cooking, the first from the fish and leaf grind, I guess. Right, so after I use this single tuna, I will officially be out of fish. And I still have quite a lot of leaves left to use. But luckily, this shop here sells cooked fish. So I can just come over here, buy all of these, and now I have got 9 fish per world that I can just turn directly into rations. Now, I have 2 options for this. I can either hop worlds 3 times to restock my inventory, or I can use a main to restock this world. Both options have their problems, but I really hate world hopping, so I have a feeling I know what I'll prefer, but I will test both to see how it goes.
Level up, completed.
71 cooking, and I have only hopped world around 10 times now, but I can already tell that this is way too slow to justify world hopping. Time to test out restocking with my main before moving on to something else. I do not know what a jumbo squid is. Is this some sailing thing that I am too Prif to understand?
Level up, completed.
Hey, level 72. We are working our way through these levels. And it looks like, using my alt method, I am now able to keep up around 80k XP an hour, which is pretty decent. Kind of close to what I was getting before. But obviously there is a lot more clicking as I have to buy the stock from the shop, move over to my alt account and sell exactly 3 of each fish, as Prifchunk can't buy any if the stock is over 3, then repeat until my inventory is full. Then I get to have a nice little AFK while I make the rations. I'm just lucky that they haven't separated this shop into Iron Man and regular account, because who has several thousand cod and trout lying around on an Iron Man? And after a bit of testing, I managed to set up my screens to look a bit like this, with Prifchunk always on top, so it wasn't really as bad as it seems. After a while of staring at the shop, I had a bit of a realization that basically everything in this shop can be used to make something useful to me. The fish I can turn into rations, the meat I can turn into curries, potatoes curries, tomatoes and cheese I can also turn into pizzas, and the chocolate I can use for Herblore. For now, I'm just going to stock up the bank with supplies, as the only high healing food I can make here are curries and pizzas. However, they both take a lot of effort to make, with multiple steps each, and they don't provide a lot of XP. But they are a lot better food than the next best alternative of bass. It would take way too long to do this entire grind with pizzas and curries, but I also don't want to grind all the way to 95 with no decent food to show for it. I'm going to worry more about making good food in the next episode, and right now I want to work on getting my level higher.
Level up, completed.
74 cooking is the level where I can no longer burn cakes. So time to get back in the house and see if I can speed this grind up a little bit. Okay, well, I might have missed the level for 75 and accidentally got 76
Level up,
cooking inside the corrupted
completed.
gauntlet. But I'm at least back in my house for 77.
Level up, completed.
I have been managing to get a pretty decent amount of XP. There we go, 95,000 XP an hour, so slightly better than any of the methods with the rations, although it is ridiculously click intensive. I have to drop almost an entire inventory every time, and then if you want to efficiently get things out of the larder, you have to hold down the number and then click every tick. But I think there's a way to improve the XP and make it more click intensive, as if you only have one thing in your inventory to cook, you can cook it 4 times faster than if you had multiple. So in 1 tick rather than 4. And there is a method where you drop all of your food on the floor and then pick it up one at a time to cook it. Picking up the food takes 1 tick, so you can cook each item in 2 ticks rather than 4. So it should be a good time save. Well, this seems to be working out pretty well, which I have to admit I'm kind of disappointed by, as it's just adding more clicks. But I guess as I'm already doing a shitload of clicks anyway, it doesn't really change too much. Maybe this is going to finally be the thing to give me RSI. But 110,000 XP an hour is pretty good. Okay, well, I didn't think I'd be innovating on this method, but here we are. If I prepare 1 cake at a time, then I can 1 tick cook it and completely skip all the dropping. So I should cook each cake 1 tick faster. This may be roughly the same number of clicks as the dropping method, but it does feel a lot more intense. Enough so that I need to mess up my UI so the clicks are closer together. And it does allow me to free up enough inventory space to bring enough supplies for 2 extra cakes, so hopefully this will be another sizable boost to the XP rate. Through a bit of testing, I can easily get 120,000 XP an hour with this method, and I think I can get more once I really get into the rhythm of it. That's at least 10,000 XP an hour more than the dropping method and 30,000 XP more than the basic method. I do find it funny that I'm doing the sweatiest skilling method I have ever done for mediocre XP in one of the easiest skills to train. This will take my total time cooking in my house down from 85 hours to 63. That's like getting a whole day of my life back, though it's probably not good for my mental health if I start thinking about this account that way.
Level up, completed.
Level 80 cooking. Currently, it's still less than 2 hours per level, so the progress feels fast. And 86 cooking. There really was nothing of interest to show between these levels, just me running from the larder to the range. And it's still less than 3 hours per level, but it's really hard work with 0 downtime at all. I think I have fit my 2 worst grinds into this video, with one where I have to lock in 100%, and then at the complete other end of the spectrum, agility was bad too. Mostly because it felt like I wasn't able to play the game. It's nice to be able to use AFK methods, but when they are the only option and you want to actively play the game to make more progress, it can be very frustrating. I think that's enough for today. I will finish up the cooking in the next video. I'm hoping that the next one will be my last in Prif before I finally get to chunk roll. And hey, if you liked this enough to watch it for a full hour, then please go to the link in the comments and nominate me for a golden gnome. It doesn't cost you anything, and it would make my whole year. And if you aren't already, please consider subscribing so you don't miss the finale. I've made a lot of progress in this video, but I also have the same number of chunk tasks as when I started. I had 10, discovered 2 new ones, and then only completed 2. I am at least a lot closer to completing most of them than I was when I started. Thank you everyone for watching, particularly my channel members and everyone who supports me over on Twitch, and I'll see you all next time.